Hi, and thank you so much for joining me today. So today I'm going to be using the range Tiny Tots 2.0 from Bella Blvd. This was a request from Laura Thompson on our Facebook chat and inspiration group for Hey Little Magpie. I'd asked the question what people would like me to see me using in my YouTube videos, and Laura requested this. So here it is, Laura, if you're watching. This is for Julie's challenge, which is challenge number 4 on the Hey Little Magpie group, which the cyber crop that we ran on Saturday. Her challenge was to create your own coloured background. When I saw this paper, I knew I wanted to do a rainbow with watercolours. First of all, I wanted to create a bit more interest on this as the mat for the photo. So I'm cutting some small slits above where the photo will sit on this mat. And I'm just going to open them up a little bit and then back them with black cardstock just to make it pop and to add interest. So here I am just rolling those edges. It's quite a thick paper, so it wasn't the easiest thing to do, but I got there. And when I lay it on the white card, at first I think I might not bother with the black because it does look quite nice against the white. So here I am just having a look and deciding. And then I realised that I'm not happy with the bottom edge being quite so clean. I don't want it to be a rectangular block if I'm going to be doing the watercolours underneath it. So I tear the edge. And while I'm doing this, it gives me another idea. So once I've torn that edge, I realise I also need to rough up the edges with my Tim Holtz edge distresser. So that's just what I'm doing here. And as I said, while I was tearing that bottom edge, I had an idea that I wanted to just cut up these segments, I suppose you call them, of colour, and then roll up the edges to different heights. Again, just to add a bit of interest and a bit of definition. And now I want to add some more mats to the photo just to make it stand out a bit. I tried the floral, which is on the back of the stripy paper that I've used for the first mat, but I wasn't happy with that. And then I tried the star paper, but again it just seemed a bit too busy. And then I turned it over and saw the green tone-on-tone stars, and that was much better. So I'm just adding my double-sided tape to the photo, and then I decided to add a white mat in between, just because the green's quite dark and I think the white will just make the photo pop a bit more. So a mat onto the white, distress the edges, and the mat onto the green. And here I am again, just checking that I want that black, which I do. And when I put it behind, I just fiddle about with the bottom bit a bit to make sure that the levels are all different. And then I think I might want the black to poke out behind this mat, so I'll go ahead and distress the edges, although in the end it doesn't, it's stuck underneath, but just trimming this bit because it wasn't quite straight. And sometimes you have to go through this process. You think you want to do something, but then it doesn't work in the end, so that's fine. Just messing about with positioning. Fiddling again with the bottoms because I'm about to get ready to start painting, so I want to check that I'm happy with the way the paper's rolled. And now using a pencil just to make sure everything's straight with my tea ruler, and then mark where this mat goes so that I know exactly where to put my watercolours. And I'm just going to match the colours on the paper. I use the Vicky Boutin watercolours, they're absolutely fantastic, and the colours are just perfect for this. So just marking where each of the colour breaks are. Top and bottom, so I've got an idea exactly where to paint. Making sure the paper's clean. And here they are. Quite well used and abused now, I do use these an awful lot. So starting by placing down the colour and then adding extra water and just helping the drips trickle down a little bit. And one on the top went a bit mad, but I'll sort that out after. And next colour. Again, I want these drips to really fall down, so I just give them a little handle roughly where I want them to go, and then add some more water. And let gravity do its thing. Checking that my marks do mark up with the, oh my goodness, I can't speak, match up with the paper. I'm just going through one colour at a time. And you'll see here I bring the paper back in to double check, because there's only one more pencil marking that I can see on the paper, but I know there's another colour to go after this one, so checking that I haven't gone wrong somewhere, but it's all fine. So just going in with the final pink now. I'm thrilled with the way that this has turned out. Sometimes you have an idea and it just doesn't work, but this really did work exactly how I wanted it to. And then I'm going to splatter. I wish I'd thought about this before changing the colour each time, but it doesn't take too long. Splattering at the top, and then you've got the drips down at the bottom. Moving the bits of paper out of the way so I don't get those covered. And of course when you go back you can't remember exactly which paint you used. So just checking again that everything matches. And what I want to do down the sides, so just using the paints that I've used at each end for a matte, just to bleed out around the edges. I love how malleable these watercolours are. Just wanted to change the colour slightly on that green. I wasn't quite happy with the match. Deepening up that one as well. And then I see that the orange has bled into the yellow. So easy fix, just dab it up with some paper towel and then go back in with the yellow. And then you'll see I just put my edge distressor underneath to stop it from leaning around to the left again. So now that's all dry, I'm going to stick the black card on. And then once I've used double-sided tape for that, I think, well, I may as well stick it all down because I know that it's going there. So quickly adding the tape and then gluing it in place. Just checking that everything's straight with the T-ruler to move that corner up ever so slightly. Much happier with that. And I love that there are stripes on this paper so I can get the photo in the centre by matching it up against the stripes. I'm running out of this funky foam, so just having to piece pieces together until my replenishments come in the post. And then using my Nouveau Deluxe adhesive to stick it all down. I'm really happy with how that looks. So now it's just a case of embellishing the page and adding my title. So I pulled out these flowers that I cut from the Vicky Boutin Sweet Rush paper to use on a different layout. And the colours match really nicely, so creating a couple of clusters with those. I'm being quite decisive today and just sticking it down. And then going in with these very old Illustrated Faith stickers that I had in my stash. And I like this banner saying remember, because this is a photo from back in 2009 when the kids were just 2. So I like that, and then I want to add some foam just to keep it level. And then another one just to add the date onto, which seems to be my signature thing at the moment. And as I'm putting it there, I realise that I'm going to have to add something to the right hand side to balance it out, because this is a very centralised layout with everything pointing to the middle. So I'm going to reach into my prints that Leanne did for me a good while ago, and I find this black one which echoes the black in the Remember banner quite nicely. And I just had a little red heart that I don't know where it come from, an ephemera pack somewhere that was in that pot, so I added that. And then grab a flare badge because I love having the circles together. And just fiddle around a little bit with the positioning of those. And then I grab the puffy stickers from the Bella Blvd Tiny Tots 2.0. I like the 2 phrases on there, so pretty and so handsome, because obviously with a boy and a girl they work really well. And I love the juxtaposition with the so pretty pinks underneath the blues and greens, and then the blues underneath the pinks. So I mess around for a while trying to decide where to put these, but ultimately I want them beneath the drips of paint. I think they detract from the prettiness of that otherwise if I layer them on there. So just having a mess about trying to work out, looking at what else is on there. So at first I think they're going to go here, and I stick this heart down. Well, I just place it down, I don't stick it down fully, but when I pull it off it pulls some of the paint, you see there, and that made a bit of a mess of the paper. When I put it down here, some of the paint transferred, but I'll cover that up later with a different puffy, it's fine. I don't think it would have shown too much anyway, but so just checking that I have these centralised, and it's tough because the So Pretty is much shorter than the So Handsome. I wanted to have the equal gap on either end, but it makes the So Pretty look like it's not quite in the right position. But you'll see how I balance that out in a bit. And now I want to stick those embellishments, the flare and the circle, down on the right hand side, just so I can get the balance of the layout right. I do everything by eye. Sometimes I'll measure with my tea ruler, but on the whole I do things by eye, so it's easier to visualise once things are stuck in place. So you can see the word handsome is a bit too far in if you look at the right hand line of the pink piece of the paper. So I'm just shifting everything up a little bit. So that the S comes under the left hand side of the paper and the E from handsome comes under the right hand side of the paper. And then there's that big gap and the paint smudge from that heart. So just having a look at the sticker sheet to see what I could add there. So I'll go back in with that heart again to add a little bit more paint to the white card, not realising. And there you can see it. And that's when I realised I really need to do something else. Just straightening the letters. And here we go. I want to just fill in that gap a bit more as well as covering the paint. And I just want to add some simple journaling saying you colour our world. But I want to, again, I need to centralise it because of the way that the layout's been created. So I'm just scrawling it on a scrap piece of paper to check exactly where I want it to go. And I do want it to go in the middle. So I measure that and then work out where it should go and then draw my pencil line. That's me just doing the maths. and as soon as I've written it, it's just too small and wishy-washy, and I'm really not happy, so I try and embellish around it to see if that'll make a difference. I do love these puffies. It's a gorgeous collection, one I think I'll use again, so thank you Laura for suggesting it. I used to love playing with Bella Blvd, and I've moved to the more grungy papers, but it just shows you really need to change up what you're doing and try new things, because you surprise yourself sometimes. So I'm just not happy with it, and I can tell something's not right, and then just moving, wondering if it's because it's not quite centralised. I love these bees, the way they face one another, and I'm wondering if that will make the difference. And then I realise it's definitely where I've written "You Two Colour Our World." So I decided to do a fishtail banner. So I'll cut a strip, and then I'll go in with some very old Making Memories alphas that I've got. And I can't quite fit "You Two Colour Our World", so I just go with "You Colour Our World". I'll go with the pink because it matches their skin tone. I didn't really want the stark white. And I chose the purple. That was just one of the strips that I cut off the paper when I cut it down at the beginning, but it just brings a bit more of that purple in because we've got it in the flowers and the puffies and the embellishments. So just finishing the title there. And then you've probably seen me doing this fishtail before. It's not something that I've created, I've seen somebody else doing it, but just cut down the middle, and then it's much easier to make sure that it's centralised and you're not having to fold your paper. Like that. So obviously this is a bit longer than the original, so just having to move some of the puffies out of the way, and then I want to mount this on foam. And then of course once I've stuck it down I realise that I haven't distressed the edges, so I just go in with my fingernail and distress it around the edges. And then finally I really want to go into a point at the bottom to focus on the middle. So I just wanted one more embellishment to add there to the middle at the bottom, checking with my tea ruler that it is in the middle. So I grab one of these Ellie Studio vellum sticker hearts, which I adore. There I am, just distressing the edges with my fingernails and fiddling with the heart because it needs to move up a little bit. Checking that that's straight. And that's it, that's the layout done. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you've enjoyed watching this process video, and I hope to see you again. Bye.